He's looking good in a vest, but didn't get the memo. Hey, this is Raw. You should have been wearing a red vest, not a blue vest. It's a nice looking vest, but geez, man, it's the little things, minutia. This is why you can't hold on to a title for more than like 5 minutes, poor guy.
How do you like it? I'm a novice at this. I make a few mistakes.
Jushin Thunder Liger, the champion.
Greetings, purists. Welcome back to the Chan. It is the second week of Raw on Netflix. And guess what? It's the debut of Penta. It was that second segment of the night, so it didn't take us too long to get there. And we started off with, geez, all the flashing lights. Got to admit, the fact that the ramp and all of the barricades and the ring and everything is all like LED screens now is like pretty darn cool. It took me a while to get used to it, but I like it now. You know, as somebody that runs a wrestling promotion, definitely on our level, it's often like fans and chairs. There's no barricades, but if there is, it's the standard metal barricades, which we've used many, many times, and a lot of indie promotions do. At WWE, at least you had the padded barricades to a degree. You know, they might have had no give compared to a metal barricade that might slide across the floor, as well as chairs and people which scatter. You know, it's not a rock concert. They don't catch you like you're crowd surfing. But hey, at least there was a little bit of padding. Like right now, these LED screens, I mean, they make me a little bit nervous to a degree. Everybody says, I'm sure it's fine, until one day it's not fine. The pyro was fine until The Undertaker got burned. Oh, and poor Kojima. Anybody see MLW this last weekend? One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. If you put a gun to my head and said top 5, Kojima would probably be in there. Kojima and Muda if I was going straight to Japan, because man, I love those guys. And poor guy got all burned up. But anyways, LED screens. I wouldn't want to like punch my freaking TV or anything like that. So obviously this is a little nerve-wracking for someone like me and maybe for some wrestlers. But CM Punk jumping around from the desk over to one of these LED screen barricades. Didn't want to overshoot it. Ended up undershooting and just straight into the ring. So way to go, no sell, Punk. Gotta love it. Punky, talky, here we go. Punk looking good these days though, looking kind of jacked. Sometimes looks smaller in the ring with other wrestlers and like doesn't exactly have the hourglass figure in any fashion. You know, he's like flat ass, flat sides, flat everything, but like, I don't know, he's looking good right now. I'll give it to him, man. Nice. And they cut him off when he was like, I'm gonna be in the Rumble, I'm gonna win it, play my music, and they played Seth's music. Seth came out, talky, Sethy, but he was a little bit depressed about his situation, losing all the time, his black eye, poor Sethy. And before you know it, here comes Mr. Wrong Color Vest. So this was a fun segment. Everybody's gonna be in the Rumble, and it's on to bigger and better things. It's Penta time, baby. So here comes Chad Gable. Everybody loves Chad Gable, and he's got the cool Chiron too. Everybody's got custom Chirons now, which is great. I liked McIntyre's and everybody's Chiron. I don't know if this is new. I can't recall if this was happening recently on Raw, probably was, but I like the fact that everybody has it. You know you're super jobber if you don't, I guess. Oh, if they show the Samantha Irvin wannabe lady clone replacement, if they show her name, I wonder if she has a custom Chiron or for all the like support staff. That's not really Jobber City, but it'd be cool. Like if Michael Cole has his own and Pat McAfee, obviously his will be like somehow football related, but I wonder what Michael Cole's will be.
Who cares?
So Chad's coming out and a guy's got a red Penta sign that he's made, and then another guy has a red Penta mask. So since they brought the merch out before the match and before tonight's announcement, the surprise announcement, the worst kept secret, like Michael Cole was saying there, they obviously released all the merch. So I figured some of it, I didn't go and look, I figured a lot of it was going to be red. Maybe he'd be coming out in red. Maybe they decided you're going to be red now, is going to be your thing. They do like their branding for action figures and stuff like that. Keep similar colors, right? I think it's a lot easier now than it was. I hear like McMahon was a total, he was pretty intense about it, right? Speaking of which, people like being very tight about the fact that WWE should not have released the merch early and you ruined the surprise and all that stuff. Like, bro, last week on the show, they spelt his name in the logo and they've been talking about it forever. And Triple H was pretty straightforward about it with a bit of an eye roll at a recent media scrum. So everybody knew who it was. It's time. Penta comes out, and I gotta tell you, it is a badass song. I was really enjoying it. And his daughter in the audience crying. I didn't know it was his daughter at first, so I'm like, yo, people are crying over this stuff. So it's pretty awesome. Penta is not decked out in all red. He's in his traditional Penta black and his like painted teeth and his skull look underneath there. The t-shirts that they sold with the like animated skull with the mask on, that was freaking awesome. And of course, these red masks in the audience that I saw, RAW. Maybe they're selling those, but they certainly are selling something. Supposedly the Penta merch is selling like mad. So either that guy brought his own red Penta mask or he bought it on the shop. Maybe they got different colors there. Who knows? But speaking of different colors, these guys are going to be black and blue after this match. This was intense.
Really intense. Well, not really intense, but pretty intense.
If you notice, he worked from the left at the beginning of the match, Mexican style, and Chad Gable was able to keep up with him and give that to him at first. I think that's why the beginning of the match was so slow and why there was problems. The WWE style is very, very different than Mexican style. And even though Penta's been working the indies and AEW and in America and going overseas for a while, muscle memory kicks in and the spotlight on your face. It's amazing how often, remember when Sin Cara, he kept screwing up as well. Sometimes just jitters get to you. You know, back in the day, Penta might have got the Taz treatment from someone like McMahon. Have him come out, big pop, quick match, go over hard on somebody, and then kind of like, nah. But this went the route of a good, hard-hitting match. People thought that Penta actually got hurt because he was selling the leg after getting the ankle lock and then having his leg smashed on the LED ring post. And man, was he ever selling like crazy for that. We may have a little bit of John Cena overacting here, like trying to really like go for gusto with a home run here on his debut on Netflix. Like losing his mind. But this was actually part and parcel of what I think was a problem here. First night jitters, getting used to WWE rings, which are harder, cables, not ropes, maybe the size of the ring, everything, the spectacle. I'm sure it was an intense new experience and an adrenaline-laden night for Penta, but I don't think this was a very good match to begin with. The pops were insane, the match was great by the halfway point and all the way into the end, and the fans were nuts. And Penta, about the same size as Chad Gable, like I was saying, maybe a little bit shorter, so this was good competition-wise, but it was a bit slow going. And, walking around the ring, it looked weird. Maybe it's the black ring canvas, seeing Penta in this ring, all of it seems so weird to me. Maybe it's the super 4K HD of watching it on Netflix. I don't know, but it just seemed a little bit odd. Took a while to get going, but it was great that he went for the Zero Miedo and he got grabbed. First ever Zero Miedo with the crowd following you. And Gable grabbed him and twisted his fingers around, and that was great. They brought up the fact that he was a former TNA world champion, so the relationship still blossoming between the two companies. And Masha Slamovich the next night featured in the crowd on NXT, so this is great all around. A very short reign with the TNA championship for Penta, but former TNA champ, and glad to see that they're talking about it. They also mentioned the AAA Rey de Reyes and the fact that he won that. So definitely doing Penta justice with the hype and with the information. They kept calling him the greatest luchador in the world. I think that was putting it on a bit heavy, Michael Cole. Let us decide. Stop pushing it so hard. I mean, if he fumbles in any way, then you look like a fool, right? You got to put your opponent over in your promos. Because if you just shit on them the whole time, then you've beaten nobody, right? You've beaten a guy who you were talking, you didn't have any respect for him anyway, so what does it matter? You were saying he sucks so bad. So if you're putting Penta over so hard, and then he fumbles in any fashion, you're going to look like a fool, and our expectations are so high. Including things like this. Interesting move here from Penta, but I don't know, didn't really look that great at first. And then running into the corner without too much intensity. A screw up with the springboard into the leg drop. You know, we see Leo Rush trying his stunner version of that, and he screws it up once in a while. Don't never trust the bottom rope, guys. Unless you're springboarding off it like Dante Martin does. I kind of like that. But never trust the bottom rope. We got a lot of grappling back and forth, so showing that Penta has his chops besides just Lucha Libre. Not a lot of flying in this match, but when he did, it was on point. Getting the fans behind him again, but Chad Gable got a lot of this match and showing us that Penta was tough. And I got to admit, at about the halfway point, I even said to myself that this is a little bit boring. You know, whip into the corner looked kind of weak, and Chad running into the super kick with the leg slap, it all looked a little weak to me at this point. And it was after this that he did the fumble on the bottom rope with the leg drop. So this is where I kind of was like, oh no.
What the fuck, Penta? No, man.
I was getting Kazarni vibes for a minute. I was like, no, please, God, no. But very quickly erased it from the fans' minds as he went for a huge tope, and he landed hard. In kayfabe, you could say he got him with the shin. right on the top of Chad Gable's noggin. I mean, it is some serious stuff if you're gonna, these kind of hits do happen. Ask Jesse Sorensen. A small hit like that basically ended his career. Thank God he did actually recover and can walk around now and stuff like that. But that's why when you do a tope and you do hit him with your heel, it's a serious move. You bump, all 5 of you bump, like bam. This is a tough business, yo. Great move here with the headstand into the dropkick right to the chest. Lots of speed and intensity there. Reminds me of when Naito springboards over and swings into it nice and intense. So great move here. The fans are really getting into this match now. Over the top to the apron and runs right into a German suplex. That looked devastating and the fans are on the edge of their seat. Started working on the leg now, which Penta has been selling for a while, and people online thought he might have actually hurt himself. It's not unheard of for somebody to be debuting, get excited, hurt themselves. I mean, Sami Zayn threw his damn shoulder out on, I believe, his Raw debut. I'm pretty sure it was Raw, not SmackDown. So these things happen. And Mexican Destroyer, did you have to call it a Mexican Destroyer? Can't you just call it a Destroyer Pile Driver, or come up with some new name for it? I mean, Petey Williams is backstage. He's a damn agent for Raw. There might be another German in here or two, but soon after, Gable gets him in the ankle lock, drags him to the center of the ring, and he's cranking on it, but very Daniel Bryan-esque. Penta rolls out and gets him into the hammerlock and delivers the arm breaker that he is so famous for. The crowd goes nuts. The commentary team put it over like crazy, and then he snags him real quick and clean and tight into that Penta driver. Nice, safe delivery of a move that could be very dangerous, and Penta victorious here, his debut on Netflix. So I felt this was really slow going at first, and there was a few times that I was like kind of closing my eyes, and man, I really did not want this to go bad for him. And even for a few seconds, I thought that perhaps he did injure his leg. So I'm glad to see everything worked out for him. His family so happy for him. Everybody happy for him. His brother online happy for him. He doesn't care. Not a lot of people online from AEW talking about this. I think Tony Khan might be a little sensitive, but his brother didn't care. And in fact, look at this news coming out, saying that he went over to Jack Perry's house and like wanted to punch him in the face. It's like, hey, Andrade got suspended and kicked out of here. Like he wants to anything to get out of here. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's true. From what I know of Fenix, he might be a little bit of a hothead, but Mexican wrestlers can be pretty nuts. But I highly doubt he went over and punched him in the face. I mean, that's like you're gonna get arrested, dude. You're not gonna get a WWE contract. You're gonna go to jail. But still fun. Wrestling's so fun right now. This is great. And it's good to see that WWE knows how to market. Tony Khan's gonna regret not marketing Penta. WWE doing huge with the masks and the t-shirts and everything already. And mostly I think it's because it's a not Rey Mysterio type gimmick. With the exception of notable prick Alberto Del Rio, everybody's almost been like a Rey Mysterio clone when they've tried to capture this flavor. Sin Cara and even Dragon Lee, other things. And Penta's very different. He's fresh, and if they just let him do his thing, he's gonna make them a lot of money, and he's gonna be very popular. And he really has had to do his own thing. If you follow the history of these characters, Penta, the zero fear is because he had no fear of the stigma of being Pentagon. Now, in Lucha Libre lore, they switch gimmicks a lot. They'll just give it to another guy, and it'll be very well known. I mean, Gran Metalik was Mascara Dorada, and now Mascara Dorada is back, and it's somebody else, Mascara Dorada now, who is, I think, is it El Hijo de Pantera, who's actually not Pantera's real son, but is the Pantera Jr. character who is now Mascara Dorada. Man, Lucha Libre is fun, huh? But anyways, Octagon. Octagon was a ninja character that they had, and they had Octagon Jr. And as we saw with Sin Cara, with the Sin Cara Negra and the Dark Sin Cara that came in, this is very popular in Lucha Libre, the bad guy version of characters, the Dark Superman, right? We're going to mention Superman in every video here. It's going to be a thing. Well, we had Pentagon, which was the Dark Octagon. And I don't know the exact details right now, maybe I'll get into it later, but the people in the past who have portrayed Pentagon have had not very good luck, whether not getting over, getting hurt, dying. I think there's been some pretty crazy stuff that's happened to the point that anybody who was being given this gimmick, it got to the point that they were afraid. They're like, no, I ain't taking that damn mask. Maybe I should go and research it right now, but we'll do another video. Go do your own research. The history of Pentagon is very interesting, but in the end run, he was like, I'll do the gimmick. I have no fear. Forget it. And the fans knew that there was a stigma behind the Pentagon character. So they were behind him when he was saying no fear. He's like, I have no fear, zero miedo. And they were like, yeah, go for it. And he changed the costume over time and very much brought it, it still has a bit of that octagon look, that ninja look, as we can see. And that's why he has the ninja star and things like that. So maybe we will do a video delving into his costume and the history of the character. But no fear, he had no fear. And he has not only beaten the stigma of Pentagon, he has gone all the way. And he's no longer Pentagon Jr. or Pentagon El Zero Mierdo. He trademarked that because, like happens in Lucha Libre, he left the company, but the company owns the character. That's why they give it to different people all the time. So, that's the problem with LA Park, La Authentica Park, which is La Parca, LA Park. And they had another La Parca who then died. And if you go back to the tapings they had, I think it was the TNA tapings they had in Mexico, where they were just like, you're not La Parca, you're not La Parca. And he had an unfortunate end as well. So maybe there's a stigma around being the character of death himself, La Parca. And LA Park, the Authentico Park, the ultimate gangster of Lucha Libre, death himself. I don't think he's ever going to be contested for the character again. But yeah, Penta. Congratulations, Penta. This is going to be great. If you've been watching the video up to this point, you like the information, let me know below. If in the comments, if you want me to do a deep dive on Penta and the character. I know quite a few people in the Lucha Libre world who can give me some information direct from the horse's mouth. And then, of course, we'll do our own internet research. But if you've been following, please like, subscribe, follow the channel, Hutch Henry's channel, and Demand Lucha. A lot of people watch and don't subscribe, and it means so much. And leave a comment. Let me know that you completely disagree with me on everything that I said and that I'm an idiot, because that'll be great.